Counting down to the end of the week. Hello. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Kokomlemle on digital address GA0992539. Our top stories this hour. Some call it growing sense of insecurity as authorities race against time to keep the lid on proliferation of arms. We focus on the northeast region where IGP orders seizure of official weapons and uniform of a police officer who allegedly secured a gun license for a suspected thief. We talk to the Small Arms Commission. Also, minority parties take on one another later tonight as they battle out who has a better alternative to the governing NPP and key opposition NDC. The hunger for a third political force is on, but is the country sincerely ready for it? It's 8 p.m. till 10:30 tonight. Our political desk will tell us more later here on the show. Also coming up, deceased Member of Parliament for MFANTSEMAN to be buried on 28th of November as a memorial is held in his honor today at Mankesim. We are live on the ground. Join us on DSTV 421, GoTV 144. Remember, we're streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook and our other social media platforms. You want to send me a WhatsApp? Do so on 0540109009. I am Gifty Ando Apia. This is The Pulse. As always, please be my guest. You're welcome back. Politicians from across the divide, including NDC's flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, have thronged the central region town of Mankesim for the one-week observation or commemoration memorial of the death of the MFANTSEMAN MP Eko Kwansa Hayford. The NPP MP was shot dead by assailants at the Abeaze Dominase Mankesim Road on his return from a campaign trip at about 1 a.m. Friday morning. He was shot by suspected armed robbers. Central Regional Correspondent Richard Kujonyakon reports.
It's the one-week observance of the passing of Eko Kwansa Hayford, the MP from MFANTSEMAN. The one-week observance is being held at the Mankesim Park. Hundreds of people have gathered here to mourn with the departed MP. There are so many of the government functionaries here. The Vice President has led government delegations to observe with them and to mourn with them. Here are party people that have also gathered, National Party executives, regional party executives, and we are told that the former President, John Dramani Mahama, will also be here to mourn with the family of the late MP. I've got some of the people here to speak with.
He represents all these people that you see here, and when you go to town, even those who are not in mourning clothes will tell you how he affected them one way or the other. So for somebody representing a constituency to be taken away like that is a blow. Every human being's life matters, but because of this particular peculiar situation, that is why we classified as that. It is painful. All of us will die one day. That is what I say. How we are going to die is the issue. So whoever took Eko's life should know that he can also be called one day. So it's not necessary. Even if you don't like somebody, it is not about taking a life. Even with animals, we have a way. If you are not going to use a goat or a cow for food, do you just shoot the cow or the goat and dispose of the body? No.
It's unconscionable. It beats my imagination as a young man and as a young politician. I'm saying this because it can happen to anybody. In the line of duty, you are campaigning for your seat. This man was simply a very harmless man. You hardly hear him dabble in controversy. You are from this region. You are in this region. You've been covering for multimedia for years. I'm not sure he's one of the MPs that you will say always makes the news, either for the bad reason or for controversial reason. And I'm just shattered. We've lost someone who was one bright spot, someone that definitely was going places. And my deepest condolences. And we ask that the good Lord should help these investigators, the BNI, the CID, the National Security, the Ghana Police Service, to get to the bottom of this matter and then get the perpetrators. And may these perpetrators also know no peace. Just as they've dealt with our brother, may the good Lord also deal with them through the same medium. coming here, you see the poster of the man going for MP 2020, and you see his obituary on the other side. It's the saddest thing that can happen to any politician, any family. Because every day you see the poster of your husband, of your father, of your kinsman. This is definitely a scar on the conscience for people. People motivated by hate. Because if you listen to the eyewitness account, and it's anything to go by, once they said, oh, he's an MP, so oh, you politicians, people motivated by hate, and all those inciting people to against politicians.
How can we rewrite this? Because it seems to be the narrative out there.
I'm not saying politicians are saints. I'm not saying we get everything right. But it's a cooperation. We are in this together. It cannot be that people set an agenda. That means there's more of cleansing. Someone got to do the job. That is why someone also chose to be a teacher. Someone chose to also be a health professional. Someone decided to risk his public life, his private life, his personal security, put the security of his family members on the line to also be a politician. Being in public service is also service to the people.
The Vice President is coming today for the 1 week. It shows how we have been affected painfully by this tragedy. But the party has risen to the occasion by immediately replacing him with a wife as a candidate, so that we could go into the elections without having lost a seat. We know that and believe that the wife would take the seat for us as Eko would have taken it.
I think that the wife has the capability to do that because she is still mourning. Will she gather the strength to undertake such a difficult campaign when, I mean, you know campaigns that are in Ghana?
It is, but we believe the lady is up to the task. We honestly believe that she will be up to the task. She's been in the background supporting the husband, going around with him, and she knows what campaigning involves. And she's got only 1.5 months to campaign. But I believe the party network would support her to bring the seat.
It was a shock, not expected by any stretch of imagination. Eko was a very decent person, very measured and very respectful. And I think that he's the kind of model MP that those who are, the young ones who are aspiring to come into politics must be looking up to.
Our man on the ground who has been covering this for us, Richard Kojo Nyako, is standing by on Zoom to talk to us. Hello, Richard. Right, I'm hopeful that you hear me now, Richard. We're getting reports suggesting that police have arrested 2 people in connection with the late MP's murder. You indicated earlier this afternoon that you have not been able to confirm. Has that confirmation come through?
Hello, Gifty.
Yes, Richard. Do you hear me?
Hello, Gifty.
Hi, Richard. I hope you hear me. I'm asking whether or not there has been a confirmation to the earlier reports we got suggesting that police may have picked up 2 people in connection with his death. Richard doesn't seem to be hearing me. Richard, let's try this again. Richard, let me see if you can hear me one last time. Bring us up to speed on the reports we received earlier this afternoon that police may have picked up 2 people involved in this, or allegedly involved in this murder. Richard Kojo-Nyako does not seem to hear me on Zoom. Let's just do him, talk to him on the telephone lines now. Richard, you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. I was asking, first of all, let's start with what's happening right now.
Well, so what has just happened is that the former president, John Dramani Mahama, just came to commiserate to the family. He has been making the point that it is very good for the government to ensure that the security of the country is intact. And he says that it's not out of place for members of parliament to be given some enhanced security. So he's buttressing the point that have been made by the members of parliament that they need some security. So that is what has just happened here. The entire town has been thrown into a state of mourning right from this morning. People have been wailing, they've been crying their hearts out. They've been eulogizing the late MP. They say that he came purposely for the development of the people because they've had previous members of parliament, but they see him to be doing just what a member of parliament should be doing, constructing, doing a lot of constructions, getting some roads fixed, and all of that. So usually I think you would see people divided on this one, but the NDC and the MPP, they are both united in praising the man. And so that's what has been happening. In the morning, the Vice President led a government delegation to the Mankasim Lorry Park here, where the ceremony was done. The Methodist Church here was represented, so they led the service. The New Patriotic Party was also led by John Boadu. In fact, it was John Boadu who spoke for and on behalf of the government and then the party. He said that they are going to put whatever resources within their reach to ensure that the killers of this member of parliament would be found and brought to book. And so that's what John Boadu has said. He said they do not mind whether it was a normal robbery that happened or someone has a hand in it. Whoever has a hand in it, they will ensure that they bring the person down.
Let's talk about reports that was trickling in earlier about the perpetrators of this murder or the alleged perpetrators. You indicated that the police had said they had picked up, or it looked as if the police had picked up 2 people in connection with this murder. Has it been confirmed now? Earlier you said it wasn't.
So we are unable to get to a confirmation from the police, except what we got from the police in a message is that the docket of this very case has been transferred to the police headquarters in Accra. They are yet to confirm the number of people that have been arrested. And so for them to say that the docket has been transferred to there, then it means that something like that happened. But we are unable to confirm because we've not had confirmation from them that 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 people have been arrested in connection with that.
Richard, thank you. And I'm hoping that we'll hear quickly and in time from the Central Region Police. We're told that the Central Region Police is handling this matter. So we're hopeful that we'll get more information from them so as to cut out on the speculations. Richard Kojo-Nyako there on the ground for us as Mankasim, and indeed the MFANTSEMAN constituency holds a memorial for their Member of Parliament, now deceased. In the meantime, Speaker of Parliament Professor Michael Quay has confirmed that there will be no by-election at MFANTSEMAN, where the MP, as you know, has died. He explained on the floor of the House yesterday that the Constitution is categorical, that if an MP vacates his or her seat less than 3 months to the election, a new one is not elected.
Whereas Article 1125 speaks about by-election in such circumstances shall be held within 30 days after the vacancy occurred. It is qualified by subsection 6, which reads in very simple and plain and clear language. Notwithstanding clause 5 of this article, a by-election shall not be held within 3 months before the holding of a general election. And of course, simple calculation tells us that we are not within the 3 months since this incident occurred. Therefore, there can be no by-election by mere calculation and mere inflection of time. So let us not misadvise ourselves.
Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay. The Inspector General of Police, James Opon-Bueno, has ordered seizure of official weapons and uniforms of a police officer involved in the illegal acquisition of a gun license for a suspected thief who is standing trial at a court in Nalerugu in the northeast region. The officer was arrested after it emerged he had used photos of a gun being held as court exhibit to facilitate the legal acquisition of a license for that suspected thief. Our correspondent has more in this report.
Inspector Bekele, who is now with the Nalerugu police, was arrested and interrogated last month at the Northeast Regional Police Command, where he admitted to helping the suspect to procure the lances. He only sent a picture of the gun to a colleague at the Form Police Unit of the Tesano Divisional Police Command, where he worked previously to facilitate the process. JoyNews learned the suspect Adam Musa was arrested in August this year for allegedly stealing. Police subsequently found an unregistered pump-action gun in his house during investigations. Adam was arrested and charged with possessing an unlicensed firearm and stealing as he was put before the Nalerugu District Court. As the trial progressed, however, the suspect managed to produce a license prepared by the Tesano Divisional Police for his gun. Police prosecutors who became suspicious prayed to the court for more time to examine the lances, which turned out to have been dubiously procured with the help of Police Inspector Bekele. DCOP Kwejo Entwitabi is the Northeast Regional Police Commander, who first explained how the officer was arrested.
Our preliminary investigations revealed that photographs of the weapon was taken in the charge office, Nalerugu Police Station charge office, and sent to Accra. We realized that the document indicated that it was issued by the Tesano Police. That is the license of the weapon. It was licensed at Tesano Police. And we're wondering how it could be licensed when the weapon at that time was in the custody of the police. So preliminary investigation was led to that place, and we found out, it was revealed to us that Mr. Bekele took the photographs, sent to his colleague also at Accra in one of the police formations, FPU, and he is the one who sent the photograph of the gun bearing the serial number of the gun to the Tesano Police Arms and Ammunition Section to be registered. So when I got the information, I asked that they escort the inspector to my office for interrogation in the presence of the Deputy Regional Police Commander, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ali, and the Regional Crown Officer Lieutenant Mr. Duga. Upon interrogation, initially he denied, but later when I confronted him that looking at the photograph, it was taken at the charge office where he is the station officer, and that he took the photographs. Then he admitted.
Residents in the area have always accused the police of helping suspected criminals to escape justice. The action, which has resulted in a widespread suspicion against the criminal justice system here, has also often led to the execution of what is being termed as jungle justice by aggrieved parties. The regional commander, however, said the police officer will be prosecuted as he has already been charged with abetment.
Other miscreants in the police service to stop aiding criminals, because it is our mandate to provide security, to ensure that criminals in the system are arrested and dealt with. And so, if because of money you are going to assist a criminal, then this is not your place. They will be found out, and so the earlier you stop, the better.
Ilyas Sotanko reporting for Joy News.
Meanwhile, the Small Arms Commission has revealed that more people in the country are acquiring guns to protect themselves. I'm joined by Executive Director of the Commission, Jones Apley, for more. Mr. Apley, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, we can understand the mask situation, yes. And I've seen a whole lot of documents here.
Oh, well, you never know what Joy FM can hit you with, so
I see. So you came prepared. Yes. Interesting. Let's start with the Commission's assessment of the situation. In the past few days, if you like, the past few weeks, a lot of people have talked about what they're calling a growing sense of insecurity. We'll narrow it down to weaponry and its availability. But what's the Commission's assessment, sitting back and looking at things?
So let me start from police database, from police statistics, comparing 2019 to 2020.
Okay.
From January to June, they have seen an increase of 74.4% increase in the number of people who are licensing revolvers and pistols. Normally, revolvers and pistols are in the same category. 74, yeah, that is from the police 2020 statistics. And so, if you see something like that as a commission, obviously, you get worried. You want to know why people are registering, because the data is giving us certain signals. But let me go over what we have noticed in recent times. So, on 11th October 20, in Etria and Kwantia Obuasi Highway, the Ashanti Regional EC bus was attacked. According to the stories, was robbery, he escaped. On 9th October, Shell Filling Station, the fuel lieutenant was killed, robbery, in Accra, dead. Ejura, Kwabre, Ashanti Region, NDC campaign team attacked, robbery, they escaped. Saboba or Sabuabi in Northern Region, NI authority officer killed at Peace Council meeting, gun attack, dead. Abiaze Domiasi, MP killed. I can go on and on and on and on. So as a commission, if you say things like that, and a commission that is supposed to, as it were, help in controlling the proliferation of small arms, you get worried. And so you want to ask the questions. Why are people resorting to guns? Is it that there's a high propensity for violence in our society? Is our society become that emotionless?
Those are the questions we're asking. We're hoping that the commission will have some answers for us.
Well, these are things that normally researchers do. They go behind the scenes to see why certain happenings or things are taking place in the society. The commission, we just try to interpret data. And what the data is telling us that, look, more people are registering guns. And we can't also link it to whatever failure of law enforcement. I always say this thing everywhere that I go, that look, we criticize our police and our law enforcement, BNI, national security. Let them go on strike one day.
Well, that's why they're not allowed to go
That's
on
what
strike.
I'm saying. So what I'm saying is that our objective is always try to offer some constructive criticisms, and when necessary, give them the needed information that they need to work with. Because really, information is key in everything that we are trying to do. Whether we are trying to fight narcotics, we are trying to fight human trafficking, we are trying to, all of it, what you need is citizens volunteering information.
Let me bring you back, let me bring you back to my initial question about what the commission sees from where you sit. You were making a point about whether people are becoming less, was it emotional?
Emotionless, yes. Emotionless, they don't care.
They don't care. But how does that translate into acquisition or possession of arms?
So let me say this.
Let's start with your assessment. I didn't quite.
Okay, so the assessment is that have we become emotionless and cruel society? And my answer, as I told you, I don't have the answers. Researchers must come up with the answers. But you linked it to, is it why people must own weapons? I keep on saying, go to countries like Israel, go to countries like Norway, go to countries like Denmark, where they have compulsory military service. Everybody knows how to shoot a gun and knows how to shoot it well. Yet they don't use the guns to kill themselves. So there are some underlying matters and issues that as a society we need to deal with.
Okay.
You understand?
Let me bring you back to the statistics that you provided for us at the beginning. You said police reports, and this is report for 2020.
This is the 2020 we got it from the Ghana Police Service, the current statistics.
So it's comparing, okay, so I believe this is a document, if you don't mind me I'm taking a look at it. So it says, it looks at the region, the revolvers and the shotguns that have been registered.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. So I'll ask you this question, and whilst you're answering, I'll try and take a look at this data and make sense of it for my viewers to also understand. So according to the report, more people are registering guns. Isn't it because it's become very easy to register the guns? And after your question, we'll look at the story that we just played earlier this afternoon involving a police officer who helps someone standing trial to acquire license for that gun. And that is a subject of the court case, by the way. So isn't it because the system, the process is so easy, it's so cheap that anybody, once you can afford a gun, you can go through the system and get it registered?
That is a fair question. I'll answer it on 2 levels. The first level raises a completely very important issue about database and computerization. So one of the things that I'm holding the Arms and Ammunition Act here. In Ghana, for instance, our law is silent on the number of weapons one can own. And so there's no way if you're a registered gun owner in Accra, Kumasi will know.
Okay.
So those are the kind of things, but these are laws that from 1962, 1972. And so these are some of the loopholes that we need to plug. So that answers your first question.
So you can own a gun in Kumasi and Accra police will not know because that data is not available.
The data doesn't speak. You know, when it is when it's computerized, then it will be easy. Like now we are trying to do for biometric data for voting and then NIA card and those things. That is the way we should go. We should find a way of having a data that can speak, so that if anybody, if for example, so in South Africa, for instance, in South Africa, they allow a maximum of 5 guns.
To one person?
To one person, a maximum of 5. And you must state the reason why you want every gun that you want. You understand? Yeah. So you ask the question, is it that easy that people can access weapons?
Can you take us through the process for assessing or registering? Yes.
So our law says that you must be 18 years and above.
Basic.
You must be 18 years and above. You must be of sound mind.
Who checks the sound mind? Let's go on.
You must be a man of means. And then you should not have come under any security notice. Your mind, you should not be a mental patient. And then you must state why you want the weapon. And then you must even tell the police how you are going to, where you are going to store your weapon.
I see. So once you satisfy these,
once you satisfy this, you apply to the Minister for the Interior. And once you meet this criteria, they subject you to what we call the criminal or background checks. And once you pass that, you have, but of course, the Minister for the Interior also takes a lot of things into consideration before issuing out these permits. One of the things you don't want to do as a country or as a minister is to weaponize your country. That will allow a lot of people to own weapons. So they exercise a lot of discretion. But even where the person is met the criteria, the minister still exercises a lot of discretion.
But from what we are seeing, between 2018 and 2020, we have registered many more guns. And
we have.
Take me a little while.
I think last year, for instance, we did something around thousands, almost 2,000 guns for the year. And this year, We are doing...
If you need to refer to this. It will take me a little bit of time to break down this data, the way it's put together, because I'm seeing some dates that don't actually also correspond. I'm seeing 2020 here, and I'm seeing 2020 here again.
So these are for revolvers, these are for shotguns.
Right, okay.
Okay, so, for example, the police data says that in 2019, comparing January to June, they are seeing a 74.4% increase.
From the so this is 2019.
This is 2019.
47.5
from the so this is for shotguns.
Yes.
We don't have
I think that the way that the details are put together.
So the point is that we're still analyzing the data, but from the research, I think 2019, for instance. So this is I can talk for Accra. So in Accra, when it comes to revolvers, pistols, 822 was registered in 2018, 2017. And from January to June this year, we have done...
Okay, let's not confuse my viewers. I'm trying to make sense of a document that Mr. Aple has here, but it's not very clear. And so we just stick to Accra, okay? And I want you to get this. Let's just stick to Accra. And in sticking to Accra, the police looked at or gave information on January to June. January to June 2019 as it compares to January to June 2020. Okay, so give us the results now. So now we know what we're looking at. We're looking at
so Accra, we are looking at
January
Accra alone. June. January to June, we are seeing a figure of 201 for Accra.
For Accra alone.
For Accra alone.
Okay.
And then we are seeing 155 for shotguns. That is for Accra. Okay.
It's still not clear, I guess. Okay, let's move on. But the bottom line is that 74.4 more registration has occurred. If we're comparing 2020 to 2019. The commission, the Small Arms Commission, a lot of people have called it a toothless bulldog. They've said that the Small Arms Commission is there, it's got the name. At the end of the day, it doesn't really do nothing. It doesn't even have the powers to do anything. And I heard this in as far back as 2017 when I spoke to the board chairman. Nothing has changed, has it?
Steps have been taken to relook and tweak the mandate of the commission. As it were, I think government has realized that there's a lot that the Small Arms Commission can bring on board. And then if you look at international best practice, what also prevails is that there's always a very robust regulatory authority that assists the approving and the final authorizing officer.
But you don't do much. The commission doesn't do much in Ghana's process.
Oh, in terms of, so what we do basically is most of the things that the ECOWAS Convention expects Ghana to comply with: mark military guns, help them to keep proper records so they can account, get into the communities with some sensitization, and getting people to understand the dangers of weapon destruction. So the issue that you just played when I was coming in.
No, so let's finish this. So that's it. You said steps have been taken to change the law or to make it a bit more powerful?
No, the steps have been taken to look at the law.
Is anything changing? What is changing?
A lot will change when it comes out. A lot will change.
Let's deal with two quick things. Two quick things. One is the case that I just mentioned to you from the Northeast region. A police officer is able to. There's a case ongoing, so prosecutors are keeping the gun because the gun they took from the guy they arrested does not. The guy cannot produce a license. A police officer who is part of the team of police officers investigating this matter takes a photo of the gun. What it tells you is that you don't really need the gun to acquire a license, because the police officer then takes a picture of the gun, sends it to his friends within the service here in Accra, and is able to procure a license.
I mean, what I can say, as we always say in the Akan language, it's unfortunate. But even when you are going to renew the permit, the law requires that when necessary, produce your weapon. Even when you are going to renew.
Is it compulsory to produce the weapon?
If the law is not emphatic on that. The law says where necessary or where you can.
So there's a loophole there, isn't there?
Well, so those are some of the things that we want to look at. Where necessary, produce the gun when you want to renew your weapon. So what happened is unfortunate, but those are the kind of things that, as the commander of the Naleruku urged his colleagues to do. I mean, one of the things that we all need to understand as Ghanaians is that proliferation of guns hurts the society in many ways. That officer who has been arrested, he thought that probably he was trying to assist a friend, or he's trying to, if you smuggle a gun in and you sell it, you might sell it to the wrong person. The one who will be affected can be your wife, can be your sister, can be you yourself. And that's one of the things that a lot of Ghanaians don't understand. You understand? That is why the issue about renewal of firearms licenses in Ghana is a very big issue for the Small Arms Commission now. We are in a serious engagement with the police service to see how we can up the number of renewals. There are a lot of people in Ghana really, according by the law, are holding their weapons illicitly.
There was recently a case involving arms. I mean, a lot of arms that was confiscated at the Tema port. The commission knows something about this, doesn't it?
Yes. Was it a 436?
Yes.
Yes, we are involved to see where the weapons. I mean, how come the person brought them into Ghana and for what reasons? Because really, 436 pistols is quite a number.
Who brought them?
For now, the investigations are not established.
After,
but what we know is that
after 2 weeks or so? We still don't know who is behind these guns?
6 persons have been arrested. You know, some of these things, it takes a long time. You need international collaborators. You want to know, where the goods originated from. Some of these things are quite laborious too.
Have you seen those guns?
We are yet to see it. But we will
so
see
you haven't seen them yet?
We haven't seen them, but we will see it.
What's taking so long for you to see that? By now, I would have thought, because I understand it was transferred to the customs. From customs, it's come to the police. By now, you would have known where it is and seen it probably. We have been notified that they've seized these weapons. Now, one of the things that we do on the quiet in aiding investigations in Ghana is that we liaise with the United Nations agencies to trace sources of weapons that we find in Ghana. And so if we want to dig deep to know where the weapons came from, then the Small Arms Commission will be clearly involved. Because, look, conducting investigation is a plethora and multifaceted. National Security will do a component, TID will do something with Interpol, Small Arms Commission will also do with United Nations Tracing Department and the Illicit Weapons Database. So there are a number of things that we need to do in order to build a solid case for prosecution. But let me say, the Small Arms Commission does a lot of things. I mean, we don't. As we speak now, I raised the issue about the law. The law needs to be law. So seriously, we are looking at the law. Do you think we need a Small Arms Commission? That is what the heads of states in West Africa proffered as a response to the disturbances in Liberia and Sierra Leone and in Cote d'Ivoire. That was a long time ago. Every country must have a commission whose mandate will solely be the issue of acquisition, possession, illicit proliferation, how to track them. And the point is that the commission in Ghana, your commission, doesn't have enough power to do anything meaningful, really. No, we do a lot of things. We do, as I told you. You're not even a part of the process for registering a gun. You see, the law, when it was passed, said we should advise the minister on issues of possession, acquisition, and ownership. Advice. So that's what we do. And we know what advice means in this country. So that's advice means. But that is what the law. Advice means obekasuyenti. I mean, you advise us, but we determine which of the advice. So that is what the law says for now. Yeah. We have been in existence for like 9 years, so I believe that
a lot of review, a lot of literature reviews is going on how we can make the commission.
I think I should study the commission independently as a independent.
No, the point is that let me emphasize this.
Because 9 years, what is that to show?
Let me emphasize this.
Help us.
Let me emphasize this. There's nowhere in the world where issues about gun import, export, and decisions is purely bureaucratic decision. There's nowhere in the world where issues about guns is a bureaucratic decision. It's always a mixture of bureaucrats and politicians. They hold the mandate. The politicians are the people that they voted for.
No, but we should not. We should have systems that work devoid of politicians, because we know what politicians can do when we give them the chance.
Yes, but the system that we have now says that if you want, apply to the Minister for the Interior. Right. So that's the system we are operating for now. As and when the minister thinks that there's some gray area he wants some clarity on, I mean, he brings it to us and we shed light on how we think or what we think about the issue. I
just take your final words, and we hope that we'll hear more information on the arms that were confiscated from the ports, as and when you have that information. But let me just take your final words.
Oh well, you raised the issue about the police. I also want to end with the Nalerugu case. Sometimes people think that because they've appointed police officers, they go to sleep, or they think that because they've deployed police officers into their communities, I mean, security is tight. It's not entirely that. I think citizens, we have a role. You know our role. You know the principles on which Ghana was built on? Freedom and justice, brotherliness, and looking out for each other. So I think that we have to find a way, you understand, of volunteering information. Although it is frustrating for the police to help us.
I hear you. I'm hoping that, I think on Monday,
clean this data.
Exactly, we need to clean up the data because it's not clear and it makes it difficult to actually carry on the message to the viewers, as it is stated here. What we do know is that there has been some level of increase in the registration of guns, so people who want to own guns, but this data needs a little bit of cleanup. So we'll do that and get back to you. I'm sure perhaps next week we should get more information on this. So Jones Appler has been my guest for this particular.
So what I want to say in ending this conversation is that it is not that we don't have a database. We don't have a centralized, computerized database. Centralized computer. That is why the question that you raised, somebody can sit in Nalerugu and then bring a weapon detail to somebody in Tesano and get his colleagues to register. If there's a system that speaks, once that weapon number is in the system, it will obviously pick it up. Okay, so your takeaway for people on this particular conversation is that we lack a centralized and digitized weaponry database. That helps the institutions to speak to themselves and so to communicate on the movement and the ownership of these guns. That will help Kumasi to talk to Accra, Accra to talk to Bolga, Bolga to talk to... so that's something we need. That's something we will do. And I hope that we make it a serious part of our electioneering campaign conversations. I mean, what are the policies being presented to us, and are they speaking to this particular security need that we have in this country? Because if the systems are not talking to each other, like he said, you can own a gun in Kumasi and nobody will know about it in Accra. You can own a gun in Nalerugu, nobody will know about it in Kumasi. At the end of the day, the guns just keep moving. But elsewhere, people can actually trace the ownership of guns to the very last time it was used, and to find perpetrators of people who use it. Ms. Appler, thank you very much for coming. Thank you. And I'm sure we'll reach out to you again next week for more details as we clean up the data. We've been talking to the Small Arms Commission, 9 years of existence. And my question is, what is there to show? Is there anything to show at all when the commission doesn't have enough power, if you like, to do the things that we need to be done? Let's do some politics. It promises to be a fierce contest as minor political parties lock horns in the debate to ensure or to share their policies, promises and ideologies with the people of Ghana.
5 presidential aspirants will be on one stage as your election headquarters. In partnership with IMANI Ghana brings you the Minority Parties debate tonight. Well, earlier in the week, I hosted some of the candidates who gave a teaser of what to expect on tonight's show. But before we hear from them, let's speak with the head of our political desk, Evans Spencer, who is joining me in the studio. Evans, I've had a very good time talking to the flag bearers or the presidential candidates who have come, APC, CPP, and PNC. What are we to expect tonight?
It's going to be rigorous. In fact, I must say, it's just like 20 minutes ago that myself and MFANTSEMAN managed to access the questions for the very first time. They have been put in the vault, password protected. I just got access to the password to access the questions. It's going to be tough.
Okay.
But it's going to bring the best out of them, I hope. And this time, we are going to encourage and ask questions that allow candidates to scrutinize each other's policy, because remember, this is a competition of ideas and to win hearts and minds. So in stating your case, you must state why yours is better than the other person.
Exactly.
And we are going to see that play out tonight.
Give us a mental picture of how this will play out. I mean, if you take a look at what happened, let me use the example of the vice presidential debate in the US, for example. You have 2 people seated. So it's just a conversation between 2 people, and you have 1 moderator. In this case, we have about 6 people, 5 people. How is it going to look like?
So we have 5 of them. They have a question will go to all 5, the same question. And each will have a minute to make a substantive point.
1 minute?
Yes.
60 seconds?
Yeah, to make, because there are 5,
if
there were 2, do what the US they do, they give them 2 minutes. I mean, but that's 2 for 90 minutes, right? We have 5 for 1 hour, 30 minutes, which was 2 hours, 30 minutes. So they're going to have a minute to make a substantive point. Once they all finish making the substantive points, we go into the discussion. I mean, for another combination of 2, 3, 4 minutes, all of them, anybody who has something to say, based on what they've heard everybody say, can now chip in and make their case in terms of interrogating each other's points. So that's how it's going to go today with all 5.
But we expect that people who are watching or listening in the auditorium will get to speak.
Oh, I mean, eventually, down the line, 20 or so minutes to the end of the time, we're going to ask the audiences to also ask a few questions. And then we're going to also invite social media, those watching us on social media, to also come in with their own set of questions. Well, we're going to ask people to, so we're going to shortlist a few questions and then put it to the candidates on the stage for them to answer.
Okay, but then the people that you've listed, not all of them are they're not the only presidential candidates who have filed their nominations. Why have we left some people out? So
there was a criteria. IMANI, this is a brainchild of IMANI, we are partnering them to execute it. They came up with the criteria. And there's a strict criteria that talks about you must have the message, you must have developed the message, you must have at least put out a semblance of a manifesto, even if it's not in the document form, you must have been articulating that. You must have a certain representation. You must have been engaging people who you're hoping to vote for you publicly over a period. And it's just what it is. I mean, those who didn't qualify didn't meet all the criteria. Didn't meet the criterion, and so they didn't get opportunity to be on. So if you see, Asan Yaraga has been very active. Talking a lot. I mean,
I was pretty impressed when he came here with our conversation.
Yes, he has ideas. Yes, he's been throwing out there for a while now. So with Ivor Green Street, so with Madam Jigbanuku, so with Mr. Palu. Mr. Palu actually has done a lot of work in putting out a manifesto, in selling his vision of what he wants to do. And then, of course, the PNC itself, they had their own struggles for a while. But we've seen that at least they're visible out there. It's bad press, right? But we've heard in campaigning for the presidential to be in your primaries, we had the candidates articulate what their vision will be if they get elected. Apasara, of course, became the candidate who was elected. And so that is a criteria, and you have to fulfill that, you have to meet that to get on to qualify to be part of tonight's debate.
I see. What are your parting words as I let you go? I know you have a lot of work to do. Tonight is going to be a long night for you. Leave us with our take home.
We expect tonight to be a competition of ideas, a fierce one, but also hear the alternatives. I've heard some really out of the box proposals from when you started speaking to them since Monday. Now we're going to be interrogating it a bit more as you've done, but in a format that allows the others to also sort of lay claim to why they are best placed other than the other guy on the stage to get your votes. Collectively, all these parties on the stage had something in the region of just close to 2% in the last elections. This year, possibly 2% could be enough to move this into a runoff. Nobody knows. And they are all seeking to get far more than that. Can they tap into the disenchantment that people feel about the two main parties? I don't know. But tonight, people get to judge if they have what it takes to earn your respect and your vote on December 7th. Yeah, and I've been engaging them, especially on security and education. Some great ideas they seem to have there. We'll see how it plays out. It's going to be, like Evan said, you know, a challenge of ideas to gain superiority. Superiority over, you know, that particular area. Evans, thank you very much for coming. Tonight is at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. and it will be live here on Joy News. On Joy FM, Love FM, all affiliates across the country and our social media platforms. And on our social media platforms. So you want to be a part of that particular conversation. Now let's get to the camp of the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG. They're hoping to create an upset for the two major parties. Founder and leader Kofi Akpaloo says 2020 is the year that Ghanaians will make history by rejecting what he says the many failed promises from the other parties. Manor Kranting has more.
Love the beat. Formerly known as the Independent People's Party, the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG, is the brainchild of accountant and businessman Kofi Akpaloo. Having lived and worked in Ireland for a while, Kofi decided to return home to contribute his expertise in building what he calls a better tomorrow for all Ghanaians. For him, it was time for Ghanaians to try something different from NPP and NDC. This different option was the LPG, which has a desktop computer at its logo.
My name is Kofi Akpaloo. I'm the leader of the Liberal Party. That's the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG for short. We are here to promote liberalism. We are the only party in Ghana at the moment promoting liberalism, and we are inviting you to be part of us. We give people opportunity to develop themselves. We are committed to human dignity, freedom, human rights.
But this call will not be practicable, at least in the 2012 elections where he failed to file his nominations, and in 2016 when he was disqualified for irregularities in his form.
Fourth candidate is Mr. Kofi Akpaloo of the Independent People's Party. The Commission is unable to accept Mr. Akpaloo's nomination because he did not meet the number of subscribers under the 7 to 94. The details are as follows. 3 subscribers supported the nomination of another candidate. That should be Dr. Ejani Boateng, in breach of Regulation 7.4 of CI 94. Again, the cross-subscribers have different signatures on the nomination forms of Mr. Akpaloo as against the nomination forms of Dr. Ejani Boateng, raising questions as to the legitimacy of the signatures. They are, as stated earlier, Alfred Yevuglo, Dadadu Raymond, and Edu Thomas. Same voter identity numbers as earlier said. We will again refer this to the Ghana Police Service and the Attorney General for investigation and prosecution in line with the law.
After failing to land a spot on the ballot paper in 2016, the LPG's focus has been on getting parliamentary candidates in all 275 constituencies to strengthen its base for the next election. Ahead of the 2020 polls, the party has been loud on job creation.
Currently, we have over 54% Ghanaians unemployed, especially among them the youth. And we want to create opportunities for them. In view of this, we are going to set up a $10 billion job fund And this job fund, we're going to encourage young people who have business ideas to tap into it, to raise capital from it, to start their own businesses.
Well, having successfully filed its nominations to contest in the 2020 elections, the LPG's promise of putting lives first through technology, as its logo signifies, may just be in reach. For Joy News, Manuel Cranting.
Certainly, Manuel Cranting, do a very good job profiling the political parties for you. You have an idea where they come from, how far they have come. Let's now hear from the camp of Hassan Ayariga of the All People's Congress. What's your assessment of how the governing NPP has dealt with these security issues?
I always give the NPP less than 40% when it comes to security.
Why?
Because they have not shown the way of how to manage security. They've rather shown another way of how to help distract security. You know what happened when they took over arms of government as a party. Their own party boys called the Delta Forces went ransacking all public offices, taking people out of the offices and putting their own men. Okay, what do you call the Delta Forces went to toll booths, even went to MCC office and sacked people.
But those people were punished.
They were never punished. They were sent to court and the court freed them.
1,800.
That cannot be a way of fighting security. Such high crimes, such high
and they
level.
were made to sign a bond of good behavior.
That is not helping. Now let me tell you, the security system in this country is very bad. It's very bad for several reasons. To tackle APC will put in a national data system that will capture details of every Ghanaian, from your fingerprint, from your facial recognition, from your, details, where you work, and put cameras all over the country in order to beef up security.
Isn't that what the MPP is doing already?
I don't know what they're doing. I'm telling you what I'm going to do.
Yeah, if you tell us what, you're going to do, and we feel like we're already getting it, then you don't give us an alternative.
I don't know what you're doing. I'm telling you what I want to do.
We've seen some cameras in town.
I don't know how many.
When it comes to the national data system you refer to, they've talked about the Ghana card. They've talked about integrating all these DVLA card, Senate card, and everything. They said that that's what they want to do.
These are not data.
They talk about digitization as well.
Cards. These are not. There's a difference between issuing a card and having a data.
The card has your data in the system.
No.
Okay, help us understand your data system.
The national data system of the APC is a special database that has features of every Ghanaian, from your workplace, from your blood group, from your fingerprint, facial recognition, the number of cars you have, where you live, the number of wives you have, how many children you have, how many properties you have.
The number of husbands you have too.
I don't know whether you have 10 husbands, or the number of girlfriends, that's your cup of tea. But I'm telling you that this is what we want to do.
I see.
And when we have that, we have a perfect picture and details of every Ghanaian.
Let's now listen to Ivor Greenstreet of the Convention People's Party, CPP. We're president right this minute, and security is a very technical area. You don't just look at it on the surface of things, but you have people briefing you. If you were president, what will you do if you were president right now about what we're dealing with?
Well, I think there have been a number of programs that have been implemented about improving intelligence gathering, and I believe that the state itself has even been given support for those activities by some foreign governments. One of the problems we've had, particularly with intelligence gathering, is sharing of information that you gain from different institutions within the apparatus. So what someone may be able to find out at a immigration station at Elubu may not be shared with somebody at the CID headquarters in the police. What may be gathered by military intelligence may not be known by what a border patrol in Sandema, may know.
They set up a center like that.
Yes, so so those types of interventions to improve the good works that are being done, but tying those bits of intelligence information are key, and it is that investment in intelligence, investment in technology, investment in capacity building, investment in training, which I think would improve our capacity to react to these kinds of situations that we find ourselves in at the moment.
Do you think that the NPP is handling it the way it should? The NPP administration is handling the security situation, looking back at the secessionist attacks, the robberies, resourcing of the police or resourcing of the security agencies. Do you think,
Well, I certainly don't think they have a pass mark. I think they're below 50%, and I think they have to...
You put them below 50%?
Yes, I put them below 50%, which means that they're maybe doing something, because I think in some examinations, even 40% may be a pass mark. However...
40 is a fail.
Yes, well, they're not doing enough, and I believe that far more have to... And I'm sure they themselves will recognize it. I think at a point in time, they even had some kind of ministerial reshuffle. They added a Minister of State of
the Minister of State
Interior. They have a whole series of national security appointees, and at a point in time, we have
a national security minister. We have a minister for interior. We have the Minister of State in charge of the interior at the interior, which is Brian Achampong. Yeah. And are you saying? We don't. I mean, people made arguments earlier.
The evidence,
but they're certainly working. That's why they said that we could have been in a worse position.
Well, that may be the case if you want to do comparative analysis with other countries. If you look at what's happening in Burkina Faso and Mali and elsewhere, clearly they're in a far worse situation than we are here.
So, flag bearer for the People's National Congress (PNC), David Apasfera, was the last of those that I spoke to this week. Listen. Just a few days ahead of 50 days to the election, and you are now putting together your manifesto?
Well, you see, we had a difficulty, and then certainly our constitution says we must elect a flag bearer a year before the election. Unfortunately, this time we couldn't do it, and so we found ourselves as we are now. But we don't give up. Okay. We don't give up. We have to do what we can. I don't think that there is any major party that comes in to buy you and tell you, please, don't merge. But you see, we have various parties, and people want to be in leadership positions. But I don't think that that is a reason why we cannot unite. I think that we are not uniting because we don't want to. And we have some selfish kind of tendencies within us that's preventing us. If you tell me, dissolve your party and come, you don't want unity. If you tell me, look, let's put our cards on the table and then we bargain. If you take this, I take this. That is where we talk about unity.
So but selfishness. If you say,
yes, I think so.
Selfishness is what is preventing the minority political parties to come together.
Either selfishness or we are not too serious about what we want.
Well, the question still remains, is Ghana ready for any of these political parties? Evans Mensah hosted Bridget Jogbenuku, flag bearer for the PPP. She has been explaining how the party intends to change the 1% score in 2016 to 50 plus 1 vote in 2020.
The campaign is probably going to be part civic education because people are entrenched in their thinking. People think, I belong to this party, and therefore, right or wrong, I cannot vote in any other way. And they must be educated to say, you must expect more of your leaders. You must ask more of them. You must really, and I think gradually, after 28 years, people are beginning to understand that. But it's going to take time. And this is probably the year where people are going to vote differently.
Really? What about this year?
The PPP is here, which is Jogbenuku.
But you've always been here. You were there in 2016. You had 1% of the votes.
Yes. This is
what has changed in 4 years?
It changed from Dr. Indom to, obviously.
Dr. Indom arguably had more political clout than yourself.
It's not about a matter of political clout. Well, yes, but Bridget Jogbenuku also has a great network of people, a great network of following in Ghana. I've had contact, like I said, I'm a Ghanaian. I've lived all my life in Ghana. I have a network of people I have worked with, and I have a relationship with. And if I start to recount, even from my childhood, where I've lived, the interaction I've had with the people, the values and the qualities I bring to the table, my schoolmates, my primary schoolmates, my secondary schoolmates, my university, they know me as a person, you know.
minority political parties. Well Face Off, Hassan Nayariga, APC, Ivor Greenstreet, CPP, David Apasera, PNC, Bridget Chugbenuku, PPP, Kofi Akpalu, LPG. One night, 5 presidential candidates on one stage in a fierce exchange of ideas in the JoyNews and IMANI Africa Minority Political Parties Debate, 8 to 10:30 p.m. Thursday, 15th October, live from the UPSA campus. Only on JoyNews, Joy 99.7 FM, Love 99.5 FM, online at myjoyonline.com and across our social media platforms.
You want to make a date tonight at 8 p.m. Now, running mate to the NDC flag bearer, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, is on a campaign trail in the Ashanti region a day after the Vice President finished his tour of that region. She starts a 6-day tour of the Ashanti region in the Nyinahini community, where she visited the chief of Nyinahini and pleaded with him and his elders to support her with prayers. This follows a 4-day tour of the NDC's General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketia, which ended yesterday. Let's hear her.
Asama babe tuwe de nyina sabi ebinum yatibi yehubi enso esa me so me ba na mbeda me ho adi na namba ya me ade na mba besra ade me ba besra okasi ehia me ene wo mpaibo ene wo nhira ene wo ayonkofa nanka anamoya ba beda me nimi na nanka mo ne me etu na ho aba mfaso ama obia enti saa ne ahyehye wo ye manifesto no se ye beto ye nsa na basa no aso obia so obia tinka se ono so so ka ho na obia ni ankotan na obia so ehu se na ba no sana na asomdwe beba asomdwe ni bia beba ene de wo he so obia ni sabe ne hiasem no amambo no so behwe ne sa na de hia sabe kwese bia na nya ne hia ya.
Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman there, essentially she talks about coming to seek the blessing of the chief and saying that we all have our different needs, but we can come to a place where we all understand each other and we fight towards that goal. Prince Apia is following the team. Prince joins me live. Hello, Prince. Prince, where are you currently? What can you report? I think you're muted.
Yes, currently the team is at barricading in the Ajumawa district of the Ashanti region. Because here a few minutes ago, and the NDC flag bearer and the team went to the barricading where he sought permission to have the campaign rally here in the community. So currently, as I speak to you, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman and the team are meeting with some opinion leaders and the youth here currently. Earlier, the team went to the Adamawa district where where she went there to also seek for the blessing to continue her tour, to actually start her tour in the where the chief advised her to make peace a priority and ensure that people communicate their party's vision and plans to the people to convince them to vote for the NDC and head. And the running mate has been enumerating a number of qualities in their people's manifesto and trying to convince the people to vote for the NDC. One particular thing that
Prince, I'm getting a little bit of an interruption in your background. That makes it difficult to hear all that you're saying. But you're saying that she's been talking to some of the people, and you were just going to highlight for me the one interesting thing that came up. Let's try this again and see if we won't get that interruption in the background once again. Go for it.
Yes, I was saying that at Nyinahini, she mentioned the fact that the Ashanti region
then a number of the residents here are women who engage in trade and commerce, and that they need good and better market spaces to do their trade. She mentioned that so far there has been nothing like that. It was the NDC that put up the KJT at the Central Market Project, and now what they are saying is that apart from the central business of Kumasi, other places don't have such up-to-date market, and so they are going to ensure that traders in this other part of the Ashanti region, like the Atumampuni, Atumanwurabija areas, get some market, decent market spaces where they can do their trade. So issues of petty traders and traders selling their wares on the floor will be a thing of the past. She mentioned that the party really making her the running mate means that they respect women, and that means that the people should vote for the NDC. A party that respects women means that the party respect the people of Ghana and will do everything for their development. Yes.
Prince, thank you so much for that update. I know you're still on the move. Thank you. Prince appeared there with the campaign trail of Professor Jane Nana Opoku Agyeman there. This is your election headquarters. And this is how far I'm coming with you. There's more news at myjoyonline.com, and I'll urge you to log on and share the links. I am Gifty Ando Apia. Many thanks for staying with me. Let's do this again next week and tomorrow.